The morning began deceptively quiet. The skies over Oklahoma were a dull grey, heavy with the promise of rain, but nothing yet to warn of the fury that was gathering miles away. It was a typical summer day, humid, warm, with the occasional breeze stirring the trees. People went about their routines, unaware that nature was preparing to unleash its wrath in a way few had seen before. By late morning, dark clouds had thickened, swallowing the horizon. The first drops of rain fell softly at first, then quickly transformed into relentless sheets. Streets in northern Cleveland County, Oklahoma, began to slick over with water, but no one expected the torrent that was about to follow. The National Weather Service's urgent warnings flashed across phones and radios. A flash flood warning was in effect, threatening north-central Cleveland County and surrounding areas with dangerous flooding. Already, some regions had seen 1 to 2 inches of rain, and meteorologists warned that another 3 inches could arrive within the hour. In towns like Noble, Moore, and Norman, water began to creep over curbs and seep into low-lying neighborhoods. Underpasses filled like sudden lakes, and creeks swelled beyond their banks, swallowing roads and fields. Emergency responders raced against time, closing streets known for flooding and issuing evacuation notices to vulnerable areas. But it wasn't just the water that stoked fear. Tornado warnings flickered on weather apps, heightening tension. The possibility of twisting funnels of destruction amidst the downpour added a new edge of terror to the day's unfolding drama. As the storm rolled relentlessly east and south, flooding worsened. Roads between Oklahoma City and neighboring towns disappeared beneath swift-moving currents. Drivers found themselves trapped or forced to navigate perilous detours. In some places, vehicles stalled and were swept away by surprisingly deep water, mere inches enough to carry away lives. Meanwhile, across the state line in Louisiana's West Baton Rouge Parish, a similar scene was unfolding. Flash floods had turned neighborhoods into lakes, submerging homes and roads in places like Addis and Brusley. Residents scrambled to salvage belongings, battling the creeping water that showed no mercy. By midday, the emergency response ramped up. Shelters opened, sandbags were distributed, and officials urged calm, caution, and cooperation. Yet beneath the surface, anxiety rippled like the floodwaters. Would this storm break the limits of what the land and its people could endure? The storm was no longer just weather. It had become a force rewriting lives, challenging communities to survive the deluge and to rise again from its aftermath. As afternoon descended, the storm showed no sign of mercy. The rain intensified, pouring down in relentless sheets that blurred the line between sky and earth. In Cleveland County and beyond, the floodwaters surged with terrifying speed, turning familiar streets into raging rivers, swallowing cars and isolating neighborhoods. Emergency sirens wailed through towns like Norman and Moore, signaling the urgent need for evacuations. Police and rescue teams raced against the clock, navigating submerged roads to reach stranded residents. Many had only minutes to abandon their homes, clutching what little they could carry before the water claimed everything else. At underpasses once safe to cross, water levels rose dangerously. Drivers underestimated the current's power. Some vehicles stalled, caught in the watery grip and swept away. Rescue crews scrambled to save those trapped in their cars, battling the swift currents and rising panic. Meanwhile, the threat of tornadoes loomed ominously. Sporadic lightning flashed across the darkened skies, accompanied by the low, haunting roar of wind. Weather alerts painted a grim picture. A moderate risk for tornado formation stretched across southeastern Oklahoma, heightening the danger for already beleaguered communities. In the heart of Oklahoma City, the Festival of the Arts, normally a vibrant celebration, was abruptly postponed. Streets filled with floodwaters, leaving vendors and visitors scrambling to safety. The city's pulse faltered as nature's fury took center stage. Further south in Louisiana, the water's assault was no less brutal. West Baton Rouge Parish awoke to neighborhoods transformed into lakes. In Addis and Brusley, residents watched helplessly as their homes filled with water, belongings ruined, and roads vanished beneath the rising tide. Local officials mobilized swiftly, coordinating with the Red Cross and state emergency agencies. Sandbags were distributed. Shelters opened their doors to displaced families. But with every passing hour, the question gnawed: how long could they hold back the flood? Amid the chaos, stories of bravery surfaced. Neighbours helped neighbours, strangers formed rescue chains, and first responders risked everything. Yet the storm's relentless assault served as a brutal reminder. Nature's power is unyielding, and in its path, survival is the only victory. The morning light revealed a world transformed, not by human hands, but by the unstoppable force of water. Streets once bustling with cars and footsteps were now channels of swift, muddy currents. Sidewalks disappeared beneath waves and neighborhoods lay fragmented, islands in a vast, roiling sea. From Noble to Moore, Oklahoma City to Blanchard, the devastation was clear. Homes sat half submerged, their foundations weakened or destroyed. Cars floated like toys, tossed by the flood's ruthless grip. Trees, uprooted and broken, cluttered what little dry land remained. For many, the floodwaters arrived with little warning. Families fled in panic, clutching children and pets, some making harrowing escapes by boat or on foot through waist-deep water. The sound of rushing water mixed with cries for help and the distant wail of sirens, a haunting chorus that echoed the tragedy unfolding. In West Baton Rouge Parish, Louisiana, the damage was just as severe. Residents in Addis and Brusley sifted through the ruins of their homes, the lingering water marking the line between what was lost and what might still be saved. Power outages plunged neighborhoods into silence, broken only by the sounds of emergency crews and concerned neighbors checking in on one another. The flood was indiscriminate. It did not care for age, wealth, or status. It claimed childhood homes, family heirlooms, and the small comforts that stitch lives together. And as the water slowly receded, the weight of loss settled over communities like a thick fog. But even in the darkest hours, resilience sparked. Volunteers arrived with supplies and open hearts. Local leaders vowed swift recovery and better preparation. Neighbors shared stories and resources, forming lifelines that no flood could wash away. Yet questions hung heavy in the air. How long would it take to rebuild? Could the communities withstand another storm? And what would the coming seasons bring as climate change pushes nature's limits further? The floodwaters may have ebbed for now, but the battle to reclaim life and hope was only just beginning.